Hey, what's up? We're going to be doing some typing. Hey, what's up? What's up, Brandon Sherburne? Sherburne? What are you, an ice cream? What's up, my friend? I'm just doing some writing. Um, Free writing on my free write. um, been working on my novel lately, and I'm kind of stuck in like this weird. The end of Act 1 in my outlining, my storyboarding, I guess outlining, or I'm writing prose to then generate an outline. And it's really hard for me to get to the end of Act 1. I don't really understand. I don't really know how to get. I'm in like this sluggish part of it, and so I'm just kind of working through some ideas and just hanging out with you guys too. Bruh, bruh. I'm trying my best. Yeah, and also I'm kind of doing it more casually because I already did my writing privately today, and so doing like writing in a more social way like this, like it's like we're hanging out at the library. Like, what's up? How you hanging out in the library? Why are you talking? Um, yeah, here's one. Have you ever scheduled something? Like, I saw one of those videos that was like, it was clearly one of those AI generated videos that said, like, 12 cheat codes that improve your life or whatever. And it's like a stick figure drawing or like cartoony drawing. And it like says number one and then number two. And then it's like a grid. You know what I'm talking about? Have those been popping up in your feed? You can sub if you want, you chill duck. It almost sounds like a bad word, a chill duck. You chill duck. Um, but one of them was that scheduling a time on your calendar to worry about stuff because you're going to do it anyway, right? Like you're it's kind of automatic that your brain is going to like just randomly start worrying about things even though you're busy, even though you're like trying to like stay focused on stuff. And you won't, but not one of those, but like it's just like, you know what I'm talking about? Like it shows like little stick figure drawings and they're like, it's like really kind of like cartoonish animated, and it like says like number one, like it'll say like the 12 books that were banned or like by religion, or it'll say like um it'll say like every type of neurodivergence explained, or it'll say um like every mental illness explained, or I was working on chapter 8 of Evenstar outline. But I kind of wanted to do some free writing. What wound lies at the core of Evenstar? Not the plot, you. Why did you begin writing this story? What ache, what vision, or what fear made it necessary? Yeah, a lot of stuff is like private journals, and I can't really talk about it. I've been having like some rough times lately. I'm feeling really stressful about my situation, and I feel like there's nothing I can do about it. But I ended up taking care of some errands. I had to go to the Social Security admin and like give them my last year of like, I only made like $1,400 last year, and so they're really overestimating my income, and so I had to like, they're gonna pay me back, but I had to actually go report it, and it took me like a month. It's taking me longer and longer to take care of things that I need to take care of. And I got some blood work today. Like I had to get my blood drawn. So, I got my blood drawn. I went to the library and I did some writing. I wrote a poem. You guys want to hear my poem? I got a poem. I got a poem. I got a poem. Do you hear me okay? Am I okay with talking not so loudly? I think the microphone usually, like, it picks up on my voice pretty well. It's called Time's Little Joke by Rebecca Lauren. Staying true to the wind is easy, they say, voices rising, a fire rising. I can't read my own handwriting. A fire driving. No. Draining? No. Drifting? No. Dancing. That's what it is. A fire dancing. Okay. Staying true to the mind. Oh, staying true to the wind is easy, they say. Voices rising. A fire dancing in the air. A consequence of life, paving its way through time. If none of our thoughts ingrained oh if none of our thoughts inquired those aches, what? Inquire. If none of our thoughts oh my god, I can't read my own handwriting. If none of our thoughts inquired those aches making dents in your bones, there's because I didn't write there, I wrote those aches. If none of our thoughts I also misspelled inquired, I think. INQURIED. It's inquiry. What? I misspelled inquired while I was writing. Oh my god. If none of our thoughts inquired those aches making dents in your bones, there screams a dull whisper. Oh, inquired those aches making dents in your bones. There screams a dull whisper to your ears. Wrapped up in the swirling vortex, your mind lost in a sea of voices, pleading with those through time. Stones falling, people crushed by weight, unyielding, though their hearts lift boulders. Oh. Oh my god, I can't read this word at all. I can't read this word at all. I can usually read my writing. I don't know what's happening. Though their hearts lift boulders, unquenching, their bodies fall apart at the oh my God. This felt like I wrote so much better than... It looked so much neater when I was writing it. I can't even see these words. Why can't I read my own writing? Their bodies fell apart at the irritability? No, irrelatable. At the not immorality. Their bodies fell apart at the irrelating. Shielding, starlight. What? Steadfast. Shielding, steadfast, yet dying. The soft cry of the two wolves we all know, stalking our hearts through time. I need to read that stanza or whatever again. Stones falling, people crushed by weight, unyielding. Though their hearts lift boulders, unresolving. Did I write unyielding twice? Am I dumb? Is that unyielding? It doesn't look like I said unyielding there. There's no D. Though their hearts lift boulders, unquenching. Okay, stones falling, people crushed by weight unyielding. Though their hearts lift boulders, unquenching, their bodies fall apart. At the unreality. Shielding, steadfast, yet dying. The soft cry of the two wolves we all know, stalking our hearts through time. The answer comes with ease, yet we delay. Unspoken, staring us in the face. Death to the broken, a wind that beats our wings into submission. Do we give in to this laborious disdain, leaving us dying? Not always, but all the time. That's a stupid little poem there, but... Well, thanks for following me on Instagram. My Instagram's not very good right now. Most of what I do is not very good right now. I'm still, like, trying to get stuff together so I can focus on content creation. And it's really hard, but I'm doing what I can. I don't really have I really don't have too many resources to be creating the way I want to. But I do what I can. I make sure to always be doing something. I make sure to always, like, not make excuses. Because it's so easy to just give up. And it's like, even when I'm at my worst, I'm still creating. And I'm not at my worst, but, like, I'm in a really shitty situation. Or I just feel hopeless. Even though I have, like, a lot of things going for me, Sorry for reading that. That was really uncomfortable. That was really uncomfortable. There's a lot of reasons why I'm writing why I need to write Evenstar. I don't know if I want to write about Evenstar right now. I'm kind of like focusing on writing that with mostly with the door closed, but not really. I don't know what I want to write about, but maybe I can start with that. Just do some free writing. You watching your dancing video? Yeah, I mean, I like dancing. I need to do more dancing, and I need to learn better choreography and like all the kind of stuff. I mean, it's just like there's this. It's a little bit what I'm writing it right now. I just did a free write, and I wrote 293 words. Yeah, 283 words. We wrote for 5 minutes just now. I was writing for 5 minutes. And I wrote, I don't know what I want to write about. I don't know what I want to write about. There are things that are always floating on my mind, but I can't really understand what the point of thinking about them is. Is there a point, or do they just happen? Echoes of our sensory input drifting through our mind like a biological response. It's possible. I know that I am not avoiding my problems. I dive headfirst into them. I look for ways to solve my issues, even if they are really small. For example, I was just lying down, but I wanted to write. I also thought of ways to change up my routine. It felt a little weird, but I decided to do a vertical YouTube live stream while I worked on my writing. It's a bit strange because I am mixing focused writing between interacting with chat. It's like I'm at the library and we're doing a write-in, I guess. There are sprints where I focus completely on writing without stopping, allowing myself to write whatever comes to mind, like right now. This way I can put my thoughts unfiltered onto the page. But it feels like a lot of my writing is going to just stir the pot and not really get anything done. Maybe this is what a lot of writing really is, just stirring the pot until you get something you want to hold on to. Maybe it's all something that a lot of us underestimate. We think that writing should be meaningful and that every single word we write down should resonate with the universe or something stupid like that. Not that it's stupid, but that it is unfair to expect ourselves to always be absolutely perfect. And I don't know, I'll just like, a lot of the times I'll just like, I like to like replace like computer usage, especially video games. I'm really not a video game player anymore, but like I like to replace. I have this fantasy of just like replacing all the like being glued to my phone or this is my other phone. Being glued to my phone or being glued to my computer. I like turning my computer off when I'm done. I like using my free write because it's literally just a word processor. Like it's literally just typing, and it emails myself and backs it up to like a cloud service. And then I can copy paste as I need to put it into like to put it in a document. I use LibreOffice. I don't know, it's like a lot of the times I feel like I'm not really making high quality content, and it really bothers me, and I don't know how to make do with what the resources I have. And that makes me feel less than. Like it makes me feel like I'm not good enough, that other people are able to make things work in situations that are even worse than mine. And I know that's survivorship bias, that a lot of the time we kind of fantasize about like this like idea of like the artist who's like the underdog story of the artist who's in poverty, who overcomes all their problems, to like like Stephen King writing his debut novel, Carrie. Like when he actually wrote Carrie, he actually threw it in the garbage, but his wife like pulled it out of the garbage and sent it to the publisher. I mean, that's probably that might be a verbatim actual account of what happened, but it was also autobiographical. So he may have like kind of embellished on that story, but we don't know. We will never know. But like this idea, I think we're like kind of obsessed with needing to be like our lives are like a movie. And it's like, no, like life is really mundane and boring, and it's just slowly just like pecking away at a project until it's good enough for you to start, refining. And like especially with writing, like you have to write a significant amount before you have anything remotely close to like something you can work with. And I think people want things to be easier than they actually are. Like writing is difficult. Writing takes a lot of time and effort. But people make it look so easy because you only see the finished product most of the time. But if you saw like the daily effort, like sometimes people literally like writing like one sentence and they're like on the toilet all day, you know, you know, you ever been there? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I'm afraid to write about. And that really bothers me. That I'm such an open person, and yet obviously all of us have things that we can't share with others. Everyone has their secrets because it's multiple reasons, and I don't need to get into them, but sometimes you just have to get your thoughts out of your mind and onto the page. Even if you're not going to use them for anything. Not everything has to be like something that you put in a novel or sell or anything. What I wrote about today, interestingly enough, like there's this concept about like setting on your schedule like a time to worry about stuff. And I wrote this. There's something I want to think about a little more. It's interesting to me. This problem I have with scheduling things that I need to do, but that don't have any external repercussions if I reschedule. It has given me a lot of issues. But as I was walking from the grocery store back to the library, I realized something. I'm running late to my scheduled worry time. This morning I saw a video about scheduling time specifically to worry about things, and I did. Then as I was realizing that I was running late to worrying, I thought that it would be a great idea to schedule things that I would rather avoid. This can trick my mind in a few ways to help me manage my problems a bit better. 1. It delays something I don't want to do, but that I know I will end up doing anyway, such as worrying. This also makes me feel stupid for worrying so much about things, but also helps remind me that I don't always have to be 100% on time to every single thing I do in a way that will help me rather than hurt me. For example, being late to an appointment isn't good, but it's not the end of the world. I need to practice allowing myself to be late or to delay a necessary task that will ease the guilt I feel about doing so. By delaying the worry, I am also pushing my mind into more of a pragmatic place. I am focusing on getting myself to somewhere I can sit down to write out my worries. This engages a different part of my mind, focusing on the present moment rather than fixating on issues. This here is an example of changing the way I see things in a way that I didn't realize I was capable of. Small things like this can make a huge impact on my overall life skills. Hi. Yeah, I'm kind of done. Oh, I mean, we've been like writing and talking for 36 minutes, 37 minutes. That's something. Even though I was talking, that's also writing. Dance video on YouTube. I saw a video on YouTube of it was some guy, um, like wearing a dress, like it was like a schoolgirl uniform. May have been a trans person, but I think it was a guy, because I think in other videos I don't think it was I don't think he was a trans person. I think he was just wearing a schoolgirl's uniform. I don't want to assume anything, because some people are just, gender non-conforming. I try not to think about it. It's just people wear what they wear. I don't generally. I'm gonna assume it was a guy cross-dressing. It seemed like it. It was really kind of interesting. Like, it was a heads will roll, like the slowed down version, and he was really good at dancing, like insanely good. And like, I try not to compare myself to others. Oh well, thank you, High Life. Thank you. I try not to compare myself to others, but like, it's really hard for me to feel like I'm ever going to amount to anything when I see so many talented people. But it's also really selfish, because whenever you compare yourself to someone else, you're not thinking about them, you're thinking about yourself. And it's like, this person, he's like really good at dancing. He worked at it. We don't see all the stuff that came before. It's like we only see the end result. Just like with writers like Brandon Sanderson, like I'm just starting Stormlight Archives, and like I've read Mistborn, and I've read all of Wheel of Time, and I like Brandon Sanderson's I like the way he ended it. He maintained the style without copying Robert Jordan, and that was like really, you could tell he put a lot of effort into it. Like, he really tried to respect the work, and that was like really good. I don't know, I really like Brandon Sanderson's writing, and I'm like a huge fan of him, and like, but I haven't really read anything since Wheel of Time. I mean, that took me like 2 years to read all. I know it took me multiple years. I don't think I finished it. It took me from 2016 until 2022. It took me 8 years to read the entire series, all 15 books. Jeez. It took me 8 years to read all 15 books. That's crazy. That's crazy. Make new video dancing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to do what I can. I'm trying to make myself happy and create whenever I can, even though I'm not 100%. I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to create even when it feels like I can't create. Sometimes that's all you can do. You show up, shoulders slumped, hands on keyboard, and just start typing, even though you feel like it's garbage. You love my smile? Even showing up to do a live stream on YouTube that's like not really super high effort. I want to see what I'm capable of when I am in a better situation. I want to see what I'm capable of when I'm putting 100% of myself into my work. So if I can even like pull whatever I'm pulling off, like when I'm in the throes of depression, I want to see where I can go when I don't have those barriers. Because like right now, I feel like I'm putting in like absolutely zero effort. Maybe that's just my imposter syndrome talking, but sometimes all you can do is show up and just try. And it's not about like the end result, it's about the process. And I know that it's really good to have like a process oriented mindset. Music has taken a huge backseat in my life. I don't know what it is, but something about music, I've been trying to move forward in my life, and every time I pick up an instrument, it brings me back to my childhood. And I know that like I've done a lot of work to live in the present, but like, especially when I went to college to study music. But every single time I pick up an instrument, any one of my instruments, or if I open up like, Cakewalk to like do some music production, it just brings me back to my childhood, and I start having like huge panic attacks. And I feel like, waves of depression. I feel like there's no point. It feels useless. It makes me feel useless. And I don't like feeling that way. And I hate that music is triggering that. Because music has been a huge part of my soul since I was very young. It transcended every part of my identity. It goes beyond, like, that's where, like, I want to learn, I want to keep dancing. Because dancing is something that I always, like, dancing is always something that I was like kind of innately like natural at, but not very good at. Like I did take some dancing classes. I took a dancing class at the college 2 years ago. And last year I took an acting class, like a theater class. And these are things I never did as a kid that I always felt like I should have done, that I wanted to do. But then doing them was like hard for me because of unresolved, like, gender stereotypes that I was holding on to. And I got through all my surgeries and stuff started to kind of unlock for me. And that's a large reason why I needed my surgeries. And I got them, and it's been 14 months since my bottom surgery, but I'm still feeling like I have a lot of unresolved issues. And I know that like life doesn't have to always be problem solving your big, super crazy mental issues. But I don't like feeling broken. I don't want to feel sick. I want to be a productive member of society. I want to create things. I want to write my novel. I want to do normal things that people do. But I also know that it's actually not normal for people to be creative. Most people aren't. Most people just watch TV every day. I only watch TV like when I'm just completely like ready to just completely shut off and just I need something else to focus on. And it's normal. I don't like watching TV the way I used to. When I was a kid, I used to watch TV like 8 hours a day or whatever, like 4 to 5 hours a day at least. Well, I'm glad you enjoy High Life. I know the quality isn't the best. It's just a vertical live stream. But sometimes, you don't always have to be like super crazy high level production value. I think the love of streaming that I have is that it's low effort. It's just something that you normally wouldn't capture. Like most people don't have these moments streamed to the world, like moments where you're just like talking to yourself. Or like, I guess like thinking out loud. I guess dictating. It's like journaling, but out loud and like publicly. And I kind of like, I kind of love the idea of live streaming because it's like you get to share these little boring moments. And sometimes they're not so boring. Sometimes they're really insightful or impactful. And it's like, there's something about live streaming that I just absolutely find fascinating. And I also like the idea of like, I know it's kind of a fantasy, but one day it would be nice if I could, be as like an extra way to generate revenue, but that's not really like a realistic goal. But I generally I like using it more as a way to like keep me grounded in like, in reality a little bit more, like focusing on the here and now, having like my thoughts put out loud instead of stuck like circling in my head. And I don't know, something like, it's hard for me, usually when I like sit down to type or to handwrite, I like to keep everything like completely turned off. Like I don't have my computer on. I mostly don't even have music on when I'm writing. Most of the time, I just like to have just like me and my thoughts and the typewriter or the notebook, or the like, the small like kind of moleskin type journal. Oh, thank you, High Life. I'm glad to bring a little bit of joy into your life. But if I was going to have any advice, like, these moments are going to happen where we feel like we need to, where we need to pay attention to someone else, where we need to consume content. Those are going to happen. And I think it's really unrealistic to force ourselves to not consume, because if we create, it's under the assumption that somebody's going to consume it. But then when we consume, our hope is that eventually we create, and we create something that's unique, maybe not one of a kind, but we create something that is filtering our entire life experience and stuff that we've consumed into something that is through our own vision. It's our own unique worldview. It's our own unique, way we see the world around us in that exact moment. And nobody else can capture it the way you can. And that's why we create. We don't create at the avoidance of consumption. I think it's really unrealistic to not consume, because I already said it. I think I'm repeating myself. Because it's like, if you don't consume media, then what's the point of creating media? I know it like sounds good on paper, like create more. But at some point, there's like a community of artists and you're sharing it with each other. That means that you're creating something for someone else. It's for yourself, like first and foremost, but like somebody else can perceive it. Head smoke pipe. Head smoke vape. I think head smoke vape I blocked. I don't know. I don't see head smoke vape on the chat. What's head smoke vape talking about? Is he being naughty? I feel really overwhelmed about a lot of things right now, and then I go out in the world and I go for a walk and I realize like I have a lot going for me that it may not be ideal and it's not where I want to be. I feel like I have no real control over my life, but I have a lot more control than I realize. The fact that I can live stream from my phone like this. The fact that I can type on my digital typewriter. This thing was kind of expensive, but it's paid for itself in my ability to write a lot more freely. I generally like writing by hand in like a notebook like one of these. With I've been having fun with my rollerball pens. I normally I have a fountain pen, or I have like a gel pen. I don't really like ballpoint pens. But I've been also trying to learn how to be okay with different types of pens and not thinking so much about the pen. The writing tool doesn't matter, like whether it's a pen and paper, whether it's a digital typewriter, whether it's on your computer with like a nice mechanical keyboard, or whether it's on a laptop, or whether it's on an actual. I'm not going to get it out, but I have a Royal Quiet Deluxe manual typewriter from like 1948. People will get so fixated. Some people write by pencil. Like John Steinbeck had like a process of like sharpening 30 pencils, putting them in a box, and then write with each pencil until it dulled, and then write and just keep writing until all the pencils were used. Put them in a second box. And, like J.R.R. Tolkien would write with pencil, and then he would write over it with ink, most likely with a fountain pen, I'm guessing. But, he would write with pencil as a draft, and then, and then he could, erase it as needed and rewrite over it. And apparently he wrote really fast, according to his son. Like, he kept saying this almost passively aggressively. This story, this draft was written hastily in pencil. Was written hastily with ink over. This draft was written with ink over hastily written pencil. And he kept saying that, like Chris Tolkien. He kept saying that, like almost like when I was reading the histories of Middle Earth or whatever, the Book of Lost Tales and all those. Like, I started reading them. I was reading the Lay of Beleriand, or the Lays of Beleriand. I was reading that, and I didn't finish it. I turned it back into the library, but that was like over a year ago, or 2 years ago, actually. Jesus Christ, time is going fast. Time has been a lot different since the surgery. I'm going to be real. Like, time has passed a lot differently for me. And like, I think it's like a little unsettling because I'm not used to it, but it's a good thing. I feel like a new person. I know that, like, yeah, I have, like, I have to live in reality. I know that, like, I am literally the same person, like, but I'm not. Like, yeah, I still have, like, I have an augmented birth certificate, amended birth certificate and stuff like that. But a lot of the things I know, like, yeah, like, it's more for mental health reasons. It's not, obviously, legally, I'm the same human being. But I feel like I was running away from a lot of things, and the only way I could was to transform myself in more ways than just gender-related ways. I had to go through therapy and fight, like, a lot of my demons, and I feel like I'm a better person. Everybody says I'm a better person. Everybody in my life, says that I'm a better person, and my actions are very different than my past actions. I still have problems because I have a lot of unresolved, like, living situation stuff. I don't have a job, unfortunately. I'm on SSI. I get a paycheck every month for being permanently disabled because I'm autistic, and I've had, like, a lot of, like, environmental trauma that has given me, like, basically permanent depression and anxiety that I'm trying to overcome, but it's just so difficult. And I'm trying really hard. And I have, like, a lot of, like, there's a lot of emotional triggers from past trauma, and it's PTSD. I'm officially diagnosed with PTSD. And because of autism related issues, it's like on a hyperdrive compared to most people. Poor thing. I mean, don't feel sorry for me. And it's just, I have my own specific set of circumstances, just like anyone else. And I'm trying to make do with it instead of, giving up. Because giving up's not an option. I want to live. I want to thrive. I don't want to just survive. I want to create my novel. I want to finish it. And I have been. I got a little stuck. I worked really hard on drafting. I'm developing a new writing process where I'm trying to just doing it one little step at a time. And what I'm doing right now is I'm using, I'm writing scenes down, and then I'm emailing them to myself, or, I draft them up on here for like 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And I draft up a scene, and then I load up ChatGPT, and I create a storyboard using it, because I'm not a very good artist, and I don't really need to. I could just, like, sketch it out by hand, but it's kind of nicer that ChatGPT can take over that for me. I'm the one writing the scene, and so it's just doing what I tell it to do. I promise you, I already feel kind of bad for using AI to help me. But I need to get over it because it's a useful tool. It's doing something that is pushing my story forward in ways that weren't happening before. And a lot of it is not really because of the AI. A lot of it is because I'm taking the process to write it out in a more bullet point format. Like I'm writing scenes in a more condensed way. I'm writing specifically so I can move the story forward. I'm writing down the key, character development. I'm writing down the key things that happen in a chapter. I'm not writing it out full-fleshed like it's a finished novel. Like I'm not writing a finished product like this. I'm writing so that I can have something to kind of like lay out the storyline like bullet point by bullet point, but in a visual format that's actually been really helpful for me. And then later I'm going to have the full story completed and I can just sit down and just focus on, okay, let's take chapter 1. Let's flesh out this scene. And then I can focus purely on the writing. Not worrying about trying to create a storyboard, not worrying about using ChatGPT anymore. I'm using ChatGPT only temporarily to create the specific thing. And it's so that I can move the story forward that's been stuck for 10 years. And yeah, like some people might be mad about it. There's always going to be people mad about people using AI. But I'm saying like it's available and it's a powerful tool. And I feel like I'm using it in a way that's not very bad. I'm using it. I'm not trying to make it replace my work. I'm trying to use it to supplement my work. It's doing something that wouldn't exist otherwise. I'm not a very good artist and I would just never write a storyboard. And I don't know, maybe it's going to jumpstart a lot of... my goal is to not rely on ChatGPT. My goal is to not use it anymore. Like, my actual goal is to... oh, I should put it on all messages, not top messages. Play Satan AI? That would be crazy. Yeah, there's like themes of like duality that go on in my novel. I don't know, I'm a little bit burned out from working on that. I think I'm trying to I think I'm trying to like build like a new balance to it. Message retracted. Make you cry. Oh wow, sometimes I can actually do only approved users to chat. So if I ever want to do like a really focused like focus group kind of thing with like where I'm like doing a conversation with only like 3 or 4 people that I trust so that nobody else can chat. That's cool that YouTube allows that. Unblock your cousin? I don't know how to right here. I think I blocked him for something. He was being annoying. I don't know how to do it on my phone during a live stream like this. But I'm also about to end the live stream anyway. I'll go through YouTube Studio. I'll go through my moderation tools later, and I'll unblock Head Smoke Vibe. I actually don't remember what he was doing. But at the same time, basically just be respectful and don't be annoying. I am generally pretty tolerant of what I allow people to talk about in my chat, but if it gets really aggressive and annoying, I'm going to block you. Yeah, I'll do it later. Don't worry. I need to take a break from writing because I actually wrote a lot more than I realized today. You're really not supposed to write too much. You're supposed to write in like focused burst. I think I've written for like a total of like an hour today. That's a lot. Even like 20 minutes a day is a lot. Like earlier when I wrote that poem, I wrote a poem and then like an idea for like a stupid video I wanted to do, but I'm not going to talk about it. It was just kind of weird. But Basically, I will talk about it. It's like I want to make a video. Maybe I need to, block Asmongold or something, because I feel like I keep getting fed in my algorithm for Asmongold, but at the same time, I actually kind of like Asmongold, even though he's kind of a butt. He's kind of a butt sometimes. I wish it would be cool to talk to him. But that's probably not going to happen. Because it's like he's just really kind of ignorant about a lot of stuff. And his audience is really hateful. And I think it makes him hateful. And that's really a shame, because I think that he has potential to be a really good person. And a really helpful person. But I think he's really closed-minded. And it's really hard to... Maybe I need to get over it, because it's not my problem. But at the same time, I think it's funny, because the character, I imagine how am I going to use that character to explain gender dysphoria? And I was thinking of Asmongold and the cockroaches. What if, and I wrote a scene. I'm going to read it for you. I'm going to read it. Let me open it up. If I can get there. Oh, here it is. I'm going to read it for you. Ideas. Gender dysphoria for the uninitiated. Cockroaches crawling on your body, feeding you broccoli. Imagine you're sitting in your room. You just sat down with a bag full of burgers and fries. A nice, refreshing, sugary soda in your hands. You set the bag down and begin to take a sip. The bubbly beverage begins to climb up the straw. It's prune juice with extra steps flavorings about to satisfy your taste buds. But then it suddenly stops. Not going back down into the cup, but actually frozen in time. You can't move. Your body wants to do something, perhaps lift the lid to drink, but you are completely and utterly unable to move. Then an approaching army of cockroaches begins to climb up your legs, carrying broccoli. They are chanting in unison, "You need to eat healthy," and "Stop eating junk food. You need to eat this." Over and over and over again. You know that they're right. You may even have a healthy snack waiting in the fridge for later. Maybe you decided to skip the cookies today. But right now, you really wanted to just enjoy your fast food meal. You had an entire afternoon planned. You had a rough week, and it's just your time to choose your own way to relax. You should be able to make your own decisions. But the cockroaches continue to climb, shoveling the broccoli down your throat, screaming at you, calling you a terrible person. This, my friends, is gender dysphoria. But anything that I write or say or do, people never seem to really allow it. It's been really frustrating. My whole life, I've come up with ideas and I've expressed them. I know it's really not everything is going to be the best, but every single time I try to express myself, I have been met with almost nothing but people constantly tearing me down, poking holes in every single thing I say or do, an extremely unfair way. It's almost like I understand being trying to be I am open to criticism, but there's a point where it's not just criticism, it's that somebody is actively refusing to accept that something I say or do is worth listening to. I've been like this my whole entire life, and it's so frustrating. I just want to express myself. I just want to grow as a person. I want to make connections with people. But it's almost like people fall down this hole of pushing me off the side of a cliff, not giving me any benefit of the doubt. I don't know. It's been my whole life. And I don't know if people are ever gonna. I know I need to do my part to just like kind of dust myself off and just get up, dust myself off, and just keep writing and keep expressing myself in whatever way I can. Keep making content. Eventually, something is gonna click. Eventually, somebody's gonna understand what it is I'm trying to say. Eventually, what I'm trying to communicate to the universe is gonna come across to somebody. I just don't know how to do that. I am very untalented. I am very unskilled at expressing myself. There's so much that is just, it's lost in translation. It goes from my mind out into the universe and nobody gets it. Nobody truly gets it. And it's so frustrating. And maybe that's just the life of a creator. Maybe that's what a creator is somebody who's constantly feeling that what they're expressing isn't true to what they're trying to express, because it's never going to be good enough. You're always scrutinizing your own work. You're always criticizing it. You're always poking holes into it. And so I need to learn how to just be okay with that and just trust the process. Anyway, I need to get some rest. It's been over an hour and I've been talking and typing and talking, and bye-bye.